Take it away, Jan. Thanks for
Okay,
being here.
guys. So I think we have something like an hour. Maybe I could take more time if I want to. I don't know how my condition will be in 1 hour after this stressy situation. Uh, Actually, I was planning to do at least two drawings, to make at least two drawings, one in pencil and one in watercolor. So I've been browsing the photos and I've seen some people that I've been drawing before, and not all the photos are really the photos that a caricaturist wants. But anyway, there were enough photos, so I made a little bit of a rough choice already. But I still have to pick out some because I have too many. So anyway, it's the first drawing, so I'm not gonna make it myself too difficult to start with. So okay, I want to take this one. But you don't see which one I did, right? How do we do that? That's a problem. You don't see
I'm
one.
sorry, but
You don't see the photo, right?
no, that's fine. You can scoot your iPad up a little bit. We've got it right there.
What should I do? Bring it closer.
Yeah, you can
Can you see it?
pull your iPad a little closer.
It's against my paper. Now.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you'd like, I can post the photo you chose in the comments, or I like the idea of people even just trying to figure out who it is as you go.
Well,
There it is.
it's a male person with glasses and a blue T-shirt
Okay.
and a long nose. I don't know if you can find it in the in the posts.
I will find it and I will post it. I will post the photos in the comments.
Okay, great. So this is not such a difficult person. What is difficult about this kind of person is that how and where you're going to situate it on your page, because the nose is kind of long, so maybe it's important to start with the positioning of the nose. Yeah. So this is a really happy person. Actually, you cannot make the nose too long. Mhm. You see, I'm sketching just a little bit rough. I don't know the name of this person myself. I forgot it. I'm so sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yep, I'm digging up his photo here for you,
You found
so I
it?
can pass it along to everybody.
Yeah.
In the comment section.
That's great. So when I sketch with pencil, and I stay with pencil because when I do watercolor I start with pencil too, but that's a little bit different. When I decide I stick to pencil, I have the tendency to see the three dimensions from the start and add some shades to get the right feel about it. And even though it could be ending in kind of a smudgy drawing, but you know that I don't care so much, right? Most people know what I'm doing and how I do it, and what I care and what I don't care about. Of course, when you make a really finished drawing, this is not the right way to do it. So this guy has a very funny expression in his eyes, and that's what I like. I like drawings with some expression and some dynamics, or the lack of dynamics. I do not like over posing, and I do not like photos that show me things that I'm not really interested in, like the hobby or whatever. For this person. Actually, now at this moment when I'm drawing for you, I'm only interested in this person's face.
Jan, Alfred Reed is asking, what is the pencil you are using?
This is a Staedtler Mars Ergo Soft pencil made in Germany. It's meant for children and they stopped making it. I don't know why they stopped making it, because it's my favorite sketch pencil. Probably it was not a good sales object, I don't know.
And Jan Kiko says, your camera is a little smudged, so you might want to just give it a quick little wipe.
Okay. Kiko is so strict to me, right? How about this, Kiko?
There's a bit of a delay before they'll be able to see.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know why my camera is dirty? Because I've been working so hard during her sessions. It's from all the sweat that fell on the camera.
Much better. Thank you, Kiko. Great tip.
It's better?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So.
We have one comment about the volume, but I think everybody else seems to be hearing you just fine. So yeah, back to the proverbial drawing board.
Yeah.
Or I suppose the literal one.
If the comment is that my English is bad, I totally agree. All the rest is technical stuff, you know. So, actually, I'm feeling fine with this because I know now that this person is going to fit on my page, and I even have some space for his neck, so that's fine. This part of his mouth is going to disappear behind his nose, which is just fine to me. I'm starting to feel better now that I know that technical issues are over.
Got a couple more people saying you're a little quiet, so I'm not sure.
That's my nature. No,
that's just how you are.
Yeah, I'll try to. How about this? I put my phone a little bit louder, but I don't know if that really works.
Okay. We'll monitor the comments. We're doing what we can, guys.
Maybe it's better if you don't hear me at all.
And again, if anybody has any questions, I'm just going to let Jan kind of talk and concentrate and do everything at his own speed, but I will happily pass along your questions if they pop up in the comments section.
Yeah, please ask. It's good for me if you make me talk. Actually, I like to talk when I'm drawing, especially when I'm doing live drawings with people in front of me. I like to talk to them.
Jan, do you have, when you're doing live events, do you have any what we call canned jokes? Do you have some go-to questions or?
To start with the people, to make them feel at ease?
Yes.
Well, I usually try not to make them feel at ease. No, I have a really good joke, but I made it myself, but I cannot tell it everywhere. It's about women when I draw them, and sometimes they feel a little bit awkward when I'm looking so long at them. And then I say, well, I'm only looking professionally. And then I see that they relax and they get at ease. And then I say, looking at women professionally is exactly what a gynecologist does as well. And that's a good joke. But
oh, geez.
Usually I say that at the end of an evening or something, or when they get drunk. But I still think it's a
Here's
good
a question.
Okay.
Adil Saeed is asking, Jan, have you ever tried sculpting?
Oh yeah, I did ceramics for a couple of years, and I did well, little statuettes, little character statuettes, not faces, but total figures actually. Like when I went to the grocery store and I saw a woman, kind of a big woman, a fat woman, with a bag and then a bag on each side and trying to get home, a little bit difficult. Then I saw immediately an image of a person that I would like to sculpt in clay, right? But it was ceramics, though, so it was a little bit difficult because that was hollow, and that's much more difficult than working with Sculpey or whatever, because you have no support in the middle, right? And then you also have to bake it and then put glaze on it and whatever, right? So it's a little bit complicated. But I liked it because I like working with clay. It's a nice material, it's very zen. Except when your statue is exploding in the oven, which happens sometimes. But I like it.
Do you have any other art forms that you use? As they say,
Real
like
art?
one hand washes the other. What do you? So a lot of painters will tell you that working in sculpture will help your painting. Are there any other art forms that you
Yeah,
use
or
that
maybe it's the
helps?
other way. The way I draw helps me to do the sculpting, I think. But, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. Well, other art forms, I should be able to use any material, right? I used to be an art teacher for 42 years, so I think if you can give me a brick which I can sharpen, maybe I could use it too.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Well, I said if you give me a brick and a good knife to sharpen the brick, I think I could use it for drawing.
Vanessa J. Thompson Vane would like to say that, hey, this is so cool, and she asks, how do you exaggerate features and keep the likeness? Because she says she's struggling with this. Do you have any advice there?
Well, I think if you exaggerate the right features, it will enhance the likeness instead of lose the likeness, right? So, yes, of course, everything starts with basic shapes, basic forms. Like sometimes it's more important that you have the impression right of a person than all the little features, you know. Yeah, for this guy, well, the nose was important, but immediately I also saw the way the chin connects to the neck, right? And so it's, well, and even the shape of the glasses is very important. Sometimes I see that people, or artists, shall I say, always give the model big glasses, which can be so wrong, right? Because small glasses can be really funny, and especially if these are the glasses you need, right? So in this case, this shape was kind of important when I look at the person's photo. With round big glasses, it would be something totally different. But what I think is most important is the expression, and the dynamics. Never try to make a dull drawing, right? Always try to make it a little bit funny. Not funny by drawing. I would never destroy this person by, let's say, how should I say? Well, he has a little thing here on his cheek. I would never make it bigger. I would mention it, but I would never make it bigger because it's just a detail on the surface. It has nothing to do with the shape. You know?
Yeah. So I'm noticing you do very little pre-sketching.
Yeah, that's for wussies.
I'm curious, how many times halfway through a drawing do you change your mind?
It happens. You know, here is my eraser, my erasers. So it happens, right? Not when I'm drawing live, but most people don't erase when they do live drawing, right?
Sure. So, but have you ever run into that going live when you start, and then by the time you get to the chin, you might have noticed that, oh, I might have looked at that wrong?
Yeah, and then I finish the drawing, and then I say to the person, "Yay!" And that's okay because they don't see it usually. They don't see it. They're just there for the happening, or
And Ken Naku is wondering, what are your favorite and least favorite mediums?
I don't know. I like everything. I like everything. I even like digital. But
Have
maybe,
you ever airbrushed?
yeah, but only for backgrounds. I made a few books in the 80s and 90s, and I use the airbrush for the background. That's all. So I know how to use it, but I would never use it for a caricature because, well, of course, if you do it the right way, it's okay. But I see so many bad ones, and what I mean with bad ones is when I see the color of the skin going into the color of the background, because they don't. Well, of course, it's because it's live stuff, right? But if you want to do it really well, you have to use the, how do you call these things, mols, to cover the spray paint. If you don't do that well, the paint is going everywhere, right?
Right.
Actually, one of my favorite things to use, but I'm not using it anymore, were the chartback markers. I did so many drawings with them, combined with Charisma color pencils, because these colors were really matching together. But the Charisma, not the, sorry, the chartback markers, I read about kind of bad things about health things, right? So I stopped using them.
Just the smell.
Well, it's not the smell, it's the product, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a xylene.
Darrell wants you to know that he just bought the French edition of your caricature book a couple weeks ago.
Yes, thank you.
Which led someone else to ask if you have any books on caricatures in English for purchase.
No, the publisher didn't want to do that because he thought the American market was too difficult to get into in those days. It was 96. Maybe things have changed, but anyway, this book for me, it's a little bit old-fashioned now. I would do it. Well, I started another one, but I never finished it. I would make it more like showing things, like I'm showing now, but with stills, of course. But,
Oh, here's a 2019 ISCA Golden Nosy winner. Sebastian Martin is here,
okay.
and he's
Hi,
got a question.
Sebastian.
He says he's a pre-sketcher slash big wuss, and he'd just like to know how you got into the art of caricature.
Well, I have an uncle. He's still alive. He's 92 now, I think. Yeah, and he used to make little sketches on his job during the breaks, and sometimes not during the breaks, I think. So he made drawings of his colleagues, and he also made little caricature sketches during family reunions. And he was kind of the sparkle that ignited me and my brothers, because I have two brothers who are drawing too. So he's the guilty one. And of course, and there is one more important thing. When I was young, and I'm meaning really young, like when I started to read, right? We had a subscription on the daily newspaper in Belgium, and in the newspaper were the drawings of David Levine. And David Levine, he really introduced me to caricature and how to do cross-hatching and things like that. It was magic for me. It was magic. So because of him, I know all history of the United States since 1964, I think. About the Kennedys and all the vice presidents and then Vietnam, everything he drew about it. Right? It was published in Europe. I never heard about the Lion King before I came in contact with ISCA. NCN. Huh? I didn't know him. I never knew him. And we had, of course, the French guys, Mulatier, especially, he's still good, and he influenced me a lot. And also, we read a lot of comics. My whole youth was comics. I never been drawing before I was 14, but we have been reading comics since we were little. And these comics were not about superheroes. I never had a superhero comic in my life, but the one that I loved most was Franquin, another master in cross-hatching, you know. He's a fantastic artist. Okay, guys, for a sketch, I think this could be the end. What do you think? I don't know how much time I used. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Chris? Chris, how much time did I use?
Sorry, and I'm having a very hard time understanding you.
Okay.
Bit technical.
Okay.
I'm going to try to reconnect the Zoom call.
Okay. No, absolutely. Okay, let's try to reconnect with Zoom. We're still connected, right? Can you hear me? No, you cannot hear me. You should be able to hear me.
Yep, there you are. You're perfect again.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
it seemed to be something wrong with our
It's okay.
Zoom connection.
Shall I make one more pencil drawing? We still have time? Maybe? Okay. Or whatever?
I leave that entirely up to you, Jan. I will stick around and help people in the chat room ask questions as long as you want to broadcast.
Yeah. Okay, the first answer is the one that I take into account. Next, drawing pencil or watercolor? Anyone?
We're asking. I'm waiting for someone to say
Yeah,
pencil
yeah.
or watercolor. We're waiting for that delay.
Yeah. That's fine.
Pencil. The first answer was pencil.
Another pencil. Okay. Okay. Let's take
For those of you who followed up with watercolor, don't worry, he will do a watercolor after this next pencil one.
Sure. Okay, maybe the next one is a woman. And I see a woman in front of me with green eyes, red lips, and a nice cleavage. Is that okay for you to find her?
That it. Let's see. All right.
She has orange hair.
Also, Laurel would like to say that she loves your glasses, Jan.
Thank you, but you cannot see them, right?
We all know you well. We all know you well enough.
I know.
And Larda Souza was asking for a little bit of clarification on the comic that you referenced. Was it Franken?
Say again? Frank. Yeah, we call it Franquin. Canadian people should know French, Lar. André Franquin. André Franquin. The guy from Idées Noires, Les Idées Noires. I don't know the title in English, but I know it's been translated in English because I know Steven Silver loves it too. So it should be in English as well.
And this number, Ken Negrin is asking if you've ever met Mobius.
No. He's French and a little bit far away, and he was too high in the stars to reach. But I love his work, of course, but it's not the kind of work I grew up with. We were kind of growing up with more funny things, funny comics. Like Asterix and not Tintin, but Spirou, huh? And
Yes.
And Les Idées Noires, of course. And Lucky Luke, you know that?
I'm sorry?
Lucky Luke?
No, I I am not
It's
familiar.
about a cowboy, but kind of funny thing. And the Smurfs, of course.
Oh yes, of course the Smurfs. They
Yeah.
were my favorite growing up.
Well, they're Belgian. Not everybody knows they're Belgian.
And Lars says thank you. He was able to find it.
He should definitely buy it or read it.
Roger Hurtado, another Golden Nosy winner. from
Yeah,
Wisconsin,
hi, Roger.
asking-
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. Roger is curious. Is there any artist you'd like to meet or work with?
From the people who are alive?
We could answer both, living or dead, and then one.
Well, I would like to meet the person who is going to draw here tomorrow. No, the day after tomorrow.
The person who's what?
Going to draw here the day after tomorrow. I'm a big fan of his work.
The day after. Who is that? I don't have my schedule in front of me.
Well, oh my God, I would say it 100,000 times. Please help me. Help. He's a political cartoonist, American. Help me. I forget the names all the time. Oh my goodness.
We've had a couple schedule changes.
Tomorrow it's Jason, right?
Tomorrow is
Jason
Jay
Zyler?
and Jason.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who is the day after tomorrow?
I'm not sure if we have that. I have to go check my schedule.
Okay.
Steve Brodner.
Steve Brodner, that's the guy. I would like to meet him, talk to him. Yeah. He's, in my opinion, the best editorial caricaturist at this moment. And since a long time already. Although I like Michael the other too, but Steve Brodner is a monument, right? You know him, right?
Everybody in the chat was correcting me with the Steve Brodner, which thank you everyone.
What did you say, Ron?
No, that I didn't know who was up that you were referencing.
Well,
So
I was so stupid to forget his name, right? That happens, guys, when you get older.
what about did you answer throughout all of history? What artists would you like to meet and work with?
From history, well, Franquin, I'm sorry that I missed him. I know all his work, but I never met him personally, and that's... But I met David Levine, and that's great. He showed me around in his apartment in Brooklyn.
Sorry, I'm also reading comments.
Okay.
One more time.
Well, I'm really proud to have the experience that David Levine showed me around in his apartment, and he talked to me about and showed them his paintings. He was not only a very good caricature artist, but a great painter. And
Wow.
he was a little bit sad that was not recognized as such in the art world. But he was really doing great things. He was such a funny guy. Really Jewish humor. I like Jewish humor. So, you know who I'm drawing? You found the woman. Can you show it to the people? I don't know.
Yeah, she is, and she is actually in the chat.
Okay, I hope she likes it a
yes.
little bit.
Yeah, it's Marilena.
Oh, hi Marlena. So this is the basic setup. Actually, this is what I like most. Actually, is starting the drawing until the point that you know, okay, this is it, right? It's well situated on the page, and this is the creative moment. Finishing is not really creative, I think. It's monkey work. And I think you can teach. What?
I've just been curious because I'm looking at your pencil that you said was for children, and I'm curious how big is your stockpile since you said they.
Well, I don't have many anymore, and I let the children play with them, and the children throw. Well, they don't throw them on the floor, but they drop them on the floor all the time. So.
Will you have backup?
No. I have to find.
You'll run out.
I have to find something else soon. Well, there are other good pencils, but this is kind of it's triangle. It's a triangle, and it's really nice to hold. And when you drop it, it's not always broken. Not always. So that's good.
Would you say it's a hard or a soft lead?
It's kind of soft. It doesn't even mention, but I think it's maybe 2B or 4B. I don't know exactly.
Sure.
It's a sketch pencil anyway. So I put the eyes on the side, and well, I think that's not such a bad choice. Not such a bad choice. There is a kind of big gap here between the eyebrows, so that corresponds with the way the nose is starting. So I think it's not so bad. Maybe this line is a little bit too hard now. I should do it with shadows instead of lines. And I think it's always important to look for small things that make it a little bit interesting. Like, I don't know if you can show that, but if you see the upper lip, it's a little bit wider on this side, a little bit bigger, just a little bit. And these kind of things make it really a little bit attractive as a caricature, right? It's not like making fun of it, but it's like using everything you've got, because the photo is all I got, right?
Mari says that white upper part of the nose bridge is a hallmark in drawings of her. She's always looking for it.
Looking for what, sorry?
The white upper part of the nose bridge.
Here? Here?
This is the woman you're drawing. She says she sees it and she's always looking for it. Yeah, you got it.
I'm just listening to the boss. Okay. But after all these years, I still love doing it, drawing and sketching. It's something you don't get tired of. I can get tired of doing commissions, like if people are asking me draw my grandmother when she's riding her bicycle in the mountains while she's drinking 3 bottles of red wine. I couldn't care less, right? That's a waste of time, I think, in my opinion. But faces, I never get tired of faces.
It's hard not to get mesmerized watching you work.
Really, thank you. I have a good time. I don't feel like everybody's watching.
I'm not trying to keep an eye on the numbers, but trust
No.
me, you have plenty of viewers right now.
No, I think it's really funny that I don't feel the stress.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the Zoom parties. We have been trained thanks to Kiko and Bo.
Yes. Zoom has come in very handy for all of us.
Oh yeah, I think so.
And that's another thing. We do try to promote those parties also on the ISCA public page as well. So if you don't hear about them, by all means, make sure you're following ISCA on Facebook. And every time we have something to promote within the community, we do push that forward.
That's great. I think you guys are doing a great job in these difficult times.
We're a community. We all stick together, right?
Yeah. Which is not easy because everybody wants to make money, right? People are in need of money, right?
Adil has another question.
Okay.
And that is, how much face angle matters as a reference? Which do you prefer most? I think he's asking for reference photos. Do you care to talk about face on, 3/4, profile? Which of those are your favorite, least favorite?
I think profile is something from the past. Sorry, Ted Barney, but that's the way I feel it. And there is a reason for it. I mean, if you draw a person's profile, you only draw half of what there is, right? Only half. 3/4 is funny because you can draw more than with profile, and a long nose will stick out, and you see everything about your expression. So 3/4 is perfect, and maybe sometimes the easiest thing to do. But frontal view can be really interesting too, especially if there is something asymmetrical in the face. Well, most people have something asymmetrical, but you need the time to find out and to take a look for it, right? What I experienced is when you draw people in frontal view, they recognize themselves more easily. So for a live experience, maybe frontal view can be the best. And profile view is fun for the artist, but I don't think it's fun for the person who is getting drawn. Like, I give you an example. If I see a woman in front of me with a long nose and beautiful eyes, and I draw her in profile, I cannot emphasize the beautiful eyes, but I only emphasize the nose or the chin or whatever, and they don't like it. And I wouldn't like it either, because it's a service that you give for people, right? But when I draw in frontal view, or maybe even in 3/4, but maybe more in frontal view, I can emphasize on the beautiful eyes. And when you draw a long nose in frontal view, it doesn't seem that long than when you draw it in profile. So that's my thinking about that. When you draw for photos, I don't care. You can take anything, right? Okay.
This is great. Laura would also like to point out, and it's something I certainly love about it too, is this is the type of thing we really want to do when we meet up at the ISCA conventions, is just hover over someone's shoulder and just watch them work for a while, but you don't want to be in their space. So that's, again, if it ever gets quiet, we're all just watching.
Yeah, I feel the pressure on my shoulders. I once felt breasts over my shoulder, but that was only once.
And then Bill Barrett would like to know what type of paper you like to use.
Well, any kind of paper that's used for that's suitable for the material, right? I mean, I use other paper for pencil than for watercolor, of course, and I even use other paper for a sketch than I would use for a real finished cross-hatching drawing. If you want to do a real fine drawing with pencil cross-hatching, you need hard paper. But this is, well, it's not toilet paper, but it's kind of soft, right? And that's nice, that's fine for a sketch, but not for a pencil cross-hatching thing. Hard paper. My favorite paper used to be, but I cannot find it in my own hometown anymore, it's Hammer. It's German or Swiss or whatever, I don't know. And that was really hard. And the good thing about it was that when I do cross-hatching on really hard paper, you don't need to go darker than 2B. The harder that your paper is, the darker you can go with a pencil that's not really dark. You know what I mean? If I want to go really dark on this kind of paper, I need 4B or 6B, right? But I can go almost black with 2B cross-hatching on hard paper. And that's fine, that's nice. Yeah, it's important.
Waldemar Kissel would like to know just where you're from.
I'm from Belgium. Nobody's perfect. And I was born. Okay.
Steve Nyman wants to follow that up with what is Jan's favorite Belgian beer?
Well, it's Golden Carolus, Gouden Carolus, Golden Carolus. It's a beer brewery in my hometown, and they won a lot of world prizes with the beer. Golden Carolus, and it's really good. And they have blonde, they have brown, they have whiskey infused, anything.
And you prefer the whiskey infused, right?
Well, it's the heaviest one. You cannot drink. It's not for everyday use, I think.
Darrell has another question here, and he would like to know how often do you or did you draw just the anatomy of the face to study it?
I don't know, really, maybe never.
How often do you exercise?
On the anatomy?
Just do study.
Never.
Never.
I just study photos. All the rest is boring. I get easily bored. No, it's certainly a good thing, but I had some anatomy in my education thing in college, but I did it because I had to do it. Is that okay?
I think so.
Nobody's gonna shoot me. Court is not here.
He was here earlier. He got a good laugh out of your joke.
Okay. the dirty joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Court. Okay. Let's go to another one.
Yeah. It's all up to you.
Okay. Let's take a.
I think people are chomping at the bit for some watercolor, though.
Okay. So let's take. I'll take a photo with some contrast in it, which is nice. I see a guy with a skull on his head. Has kind of a long face, long nose. Can you find him?
Yes, I saw that photo also. Let's see, who is that?
I don't know.
So the first guy was Phil Bowler.
Okay.
The one you're talking about, it's Alexander, and I don't want to murder his last name. I'm going to call him Alexander Yu.
It's a.
He's got the little skull on his head, yeah.
Well.
So hopefully he's here, tuned in, and is going to see you create a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, probably. So actually what I'm doing now is exactly the same as before, but I don't add shades because I'm going to replace the shades with color, right?
Yes.
But I try to see the shape. It's a long shape. I already know where I'm going to put the brows, right? Here are the eyebrows. They are like this. They are thick, and beneath the eyebrows are the eyes, of course. But there is a big part of shade under it, which I like. And there is a long nose, and long nose doesn't mean like this. A long nose means this, right? So let's try to get the lines a little bit. Okay, the line work. Sorry if my English is bad, but
You are doing great.
thank you.
And Alfred Reed just has a question. I'm pretty sure you probably get quite a bit. Is what kind of advice do you like to give to people just starting caricatures? And he says thank you.
Well, it's an easy answer. It's practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a gift, right? I'm not gifted. I'm not talented. I never drew before I was 14 years old. And I felt it for a really long time that I started too late. But it's practice. Always practice. And And there is
So,
one thing, when you start earlier, it's easier to get better. When you start at an earlier stage in your life, it's easier to get better, right?
So the guy who just told us he doesn't exercise his skills at all is now telling everybody to practice?
Say again, please. The guy?
I said you just told us you don't exercise your skills is what you said, and now you're telling everybody to practice.
I didn't exercise my skills? No, I have no talent. That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I'm just teasing you.
What I understand about talent is the desire to practice. That's talent for me, right? I'm only saying what I think.
So, but when you say practice, how would you define that for someone like Alfred?
Well, I can give you an example. I started drawing when I was 14. I was in high school. I did Latin, so I had to study a little bit. And my points went down immediately when I started practicing drawing. But even during school, I practiced 4 or 5 hours a day in the evening. And, well, that changed a lot for me. Because I've been drawing hands and stuff, and well, I tried to do everything, but I felt I was running behind on people who started earlier, and that was kind of frustrating. But maybe, because I started late, maybe that's the reason why I'm still drawing. You know?
An interesting thought.
Yeah. And sometimes, but probably it's wrong, but sometimes I have the impression that I'm improving on some things, and that's a little bit strange when you're over 60, right?
Well, you never stop improving.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's not only the view; it's also the way your hand is working and stuff like that. You know. What is black? I can color black, because actually when I use watercolor, I don't use black. Right? No black, no white.
Oh, you don't use black in watercolor.
No black, no white.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lar pointed out. I think we have the quote of the day from you. Talent is the desire to practice.
Wow, I feel so important now. Yeah, and trying to keep going, you know. It's easy to give up, but being part of a group makes it easier, right? It's like when most people will confirm what I say. When you go to a convention and you come home, you are so inspired and you can do it again and you start again, and you will be more prolific than before, just because you saw colleagues and saw new things, new techniques.
Here's a question that I hear a lot thrown around at the convention to pretty much every speaker. Is what do you do when you just have a face in front of you that you just draw a blank? Does that ever happen to you, Jan?
What do you mean, blank?
When you just don't have any good idea for an exaggeration, someone is just very plain, boring.
You know, when you're doing life work, it happens, but only in the first 10 minutes, because then you start working in kind of a zone situation, and you don't even think, you know, it just happens, and most of the time it's going quite well, and that's why I try to get more confident, because I think even at these Zoom parties too, I always think, oh my God, well, if it's going to work today or not. But when you start drawing, it comes, you know, it's always there. It's just a can that you have to open.
So just put pencil to paper and keep going.
Keep going.
I like that.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
Lars would like to know, do you ever start with the eyes first, or do you always do
No, when I'm doing live work, I use a brush pen. When I have a 3/4 view,
Okay.
I often start with an eyelash because that's the thing that's sticking out of the shape, and when I get that right, for a woman, for example, it's so important to get that one right, and well, an eyelash can be a really good thing to start with because it's at the end of it's the kind of the thing, the shape that's most on the edge of the paper. So if you put it on the right place, your face will be on the right place as well. But well, if I do live work, I cannot put the whole face shape like what I'm doing right now. This is kind of pre-sketching, right?
Yes. Steve would like to know if you've ever done a caricature, and I'm not sure of the pronunciation here, but it's the bronze fountain sculpture in the center of Brussels. I want to say it's the Mannequin Pete.
No, why would I?
Why? Well, there's your answer, Steve.
Well, it's not an important thing. It's only half a meter high. Right? It looks bigger on the photos, but it's really small thing, and it's just a touristic thing, you know. It's just a naked little boy. I don't know if you like to draw naked little boys, but so far I'm not attracted to do that. That was a little bit sarcastic, sorry.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm going through the comments here, trying to keep up. Alfred Reed says, "Thank you very much for sharing your talent."
Well, we met on Zoom.
Yes.
He's from Ireland, isn't he?
Yes. That's our Alfred.
Yeah. I don't think there are many caricature artists in Ireland. I know just 2 or 3, maybe.
I can't say that I think Alfred might be the only one I know.
Well, you have Niall O'Loughlin. He's really professional. He's doing full-time live work, and he does accept commissions too. And there is another Irish guy, I forget his name, whom I met in England at the Minicon last October. Yeah, something like that. A really funny guy, but with a hard name, because you know Irish names are not always easy.
Sorry, I'm focused so hard on watching your
You have a
brush
job,
strokes
you know.
right
You
now.
have a job.
I know.
I'm just making fun.
It's just how definitively you go in. I feel like when I'm watching you sketch, there's a bit of an exploratory
Phase.
technique to it. But when watching you go in with this color, it seems very everything feels very intentional.
Well, yeah, but sometimes the intentions can be wrong, right? So watercolor is kind of unforgiving. But that's the nice thing about it too.
Alan is curious if you can speak a little bit more about techniques using the water brush that you're using right now.
Well, it's a very simple thing. Actually, it was designed to do, how do you call that? To go outside and do some city sketching. How do you call it? It has a name. But,
not plein air.
yeah, no, it's not plein air. It's something else. So you have many groups of people who do that, and it's always a little bit hard to take water with you. So I think it was designed to do that.
Okay.
And
And then Donna is curious. Do you have an order that you lay down your colors in?
shall I show you my box?
I said, well, because that'll tie right into Lar is asking if you customize your watercolor palette over time for caricature, or is it pretty
It's a standard box. Well, not a standard box. I put the colors in myself. I bought an empty box in the beginning. But sometimes when a color is gone, I just buy another color that I think it's almost the same. So I don't really care. I'm a little bit sloppy about that. And my sister is selling them. She has an art shop, and she said, "Yeah, no. Which color do you need?" And I said, "Okay, just let me take a look at your colors." And I take something that I think I need. But she has a hard time when I do that, because she can draw too, and she thinks, well, maybe she's right, but she's trying to correct me that I should take the right colors, you know. But anyway, I never use a color straight out of the box. You always have to mix. So
fantastic. We've got a couple really good questions here from a couple caricature heavy hitters. We've got
not too difficult. Not too difficult. Sorry.
Theodosis would just like he'd like to say thanks for sharing.
Hi, Theo.
And he is curious. Do you think it's easier to draw caricatures of celebrities or non-celebrities? And is it more difficult to draw family members or close friends?
Well, the first question is easy. It is the same. The second question is easy too. Yes, family members are difficult.
Why do you think that is?
Because you don't look the same way. If I prefer drawing somebody I don't know at all.
I think a lot of people would agree with that statement.
Yeah, it's kind of observing, right? The key thing is observing. And when I draw my daughter or something, right? I don't draw that photo. I draw my daughter, right? And I think how she would react, or am I not doing something wrong or whatever, right? And that's different. That's different.
Absolutely. And then Greg Dolan
Hi,
is
Greg.
here.
Hi, Greg.
And he says thanks for demoing, and that he never gets tired of your work. His question is, sorry, I don't give you time to react. His question is, bouncing from digital to paper, do you feel that digital doesn't give you the natural watery ink look that you capture on paper?
Of course not. No.
But you still do quite a bit of digital work.
Yeah, but I don't use the watercolor brush.
Okay.
Because then I feel it's fake. I always recognize a digital drawing too. I cannot understand why some people ask, is this digital or on paper? I have a hard time with that, because it's so easy to see that. I hope I don't sound like condescending, but it's just the way it is, right? I mean, there is a big difference.
Laurel is asking.
Laurel Hawkswell?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Laurel.
She is curious if all your siblings are into art.
Well, I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and my brothers definitely are. They go to all mini-cons, and sometimes they go to a big convention like Vienna, and Karl has been in America a few times, I think. And one sister is the art shop manager, but she had an art education as well. And my other sister was, because she retired, she was a teacher in, how do you call it, preschool, toddler stuff?
Yes, we call it in the U.S. we call it preschool.
Yeah, but she has also been drawing, but I don't think now she's still doing that. Yeah, and actually, when I look back on our history of the family, Lode was the guy who was drawing best when he was a child, but he had one big disadvantage: he was too smart, so he became a doctor. And he worked really hard, so you cannot combine working really hard and practicing a lot, right? But he picked up after retiring, and he's really good, actually. He's even into the Zoom thing sometimes. Yeah.
We are still going strong with viewers, Jan.
Really? Go home.
You have been you have been keeping people absolutely enthralled with your work.
Well, I'm happy.
Speaking of, is there something you look for? Like, is it hard for you to decide that a drawing is finished, or is it pretty cut and dry?
Oh, yeah, with the watercolor, you better start. You better stop early than late, because if you stop too late, it's ruined.
And are you using that same paper you referenced earlier?
Oh, oh, pardon. Sorry, I used the same. I used the same paper. I didn't use it. But this is kind of a rough paper, but it's not really soaking up all the water. I was wondering what was happening. Thank you. That's good. You know, I bought a whole block of new watercolor paper. So this is a little bit what I would do with this person, right? I could put a little bit shade there, and then the lower teeth are a little bit behind.
I'm not sure if I missed it also, but since we're showing things to the camera, did you show your box of watercolors?
I forgot to do that, right? Well, I'll show you because it's really funny. And I advise nobody to do it that way. Are you ready, guys? Ooh. But, well, the colors have almost gone, but that's not my fault because the shops are closed, right? So
Oh, right.
Okay, let's make another watercolor with real watercolor paper. But it's
you just replace the colors as they come and go.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I could even put here more of them in the middle row. They sell it with only 2 rows, but you can add a third line of colors if you want. So let's take a look. Maybe another woman? What do you think?
I think it's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
I want to thank all the ISCA members for
Sure. I'm so
chiming in and giving lots of stuff to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost too much. Well, okay, I'll give myself a hard time, okay?
Okay.
I'll draw Millie.
Oh, he's gonna draw Millie.
Mills.
All right. Mills Vanille.
Millie Vanilli. This might help. Okay, this is really difficult. This is kind of difficult. So who's gonna help me?
Oh, there's Daddy's little helper.
Well, actually, when I half close my eyes, I see two facial features. It's the eyes, no, 3. The eyes, the eyebrows, and the lips, right? The nose is almost disappearing, so the nose will not be a really important thing. She has kind of a round face, and the eyebrows are a little bit high, which you see a lot with Asian people as well. Anyway, she's nice to do in watercolor because of the colors that are here, right? Okay, let's do our best. Let's be ready for a failure.
Jan, what ISCA awards have you won? I know you haven't been to a convention in quite some time.
Well, I've never won a nosy.
You've never won a nosy?
No, and well, I'm not good enough too. But there is another reason. I was not allowed to compete because I was a guest speaker in 2003 together with Sebastian Krüger, and since then they categorized me as a honorary master, right?
Yes, that title no longer exists. You are able to compete.
Yeah, no, but I am not able to come anymore. So, but anyway, I was happy to be an honorary master, but I never had a nosy. I had some awards, like kind of Master of the Year or something, or Master Drawing of the Year, but no nosies. And I agree that this category has been cancelled because some years we were only 2 or 3, right? Then it's not so difficult to win something in that category. Not so difficult, sorry.
Cord Jones is curious if you just drank your dirty watercolor water, and if that's your secret.
No, it's a dirty colored red wine.
And Millie says she feels like she just won the lottery.
Yeah. I know why. I just drew her son on Zoom.
Oh, that's right.
But that's because she was there. You should have been there, guys. And she has a really, really handsome little boy.
Sebastian says we should just give you the golden nosy.
Okay, prepare one.
Oh.
Well, you have one, Sebastian. Give me yours.
Yeah, that's. And then we got a request for photos. I'm gonna try and put that
really?
back in the chat again. So I'm going to. We can see most of her just kind of cut off at the eyes, and it's fine. I'll see if I can post it in the chat.
What? Phew.
Okay. Should be. Right there. Bernd has just joined us.
Which one, the orange or the normal one?
I like to call him Blue Bernd. Because he's always using that indigo, or maybe indigo.
Okay. Bernd Ertel. Bernd Ertel.
Yes.
Hi, Bernd. He doesn't have a question, right? He knows all about me.
He just popped in. He hasn't said anything yet.
Oh.
I'm just checking to see if he's paying attention.
He's a nice guy.
Absolutely.
Maybe he won't keep nice, but basically...
There he is. He says hi.
Hi, Bernd.
And I want to take the time again to remind anybody, any of your questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. I will.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed one yet.
This is the time to ask. I will shut my mouth forever after tonight. Too bad the Japanese are sleeping. Yeah?
Too bad what?
The Japanese are sleeping now, right?
Oh yes. We could have gotten on. We could have started much earlier.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, yeah.
Steve is wondering if you're going to do a Famous Corpses 2 book.
There is a Famous Corpses 2. He missed it.
Great.
Well, that's difficult. You know, if you want to continue a thing like that, you have to do it every year or every 2 years. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Otherwise, it's kind of useless. The problem with that kind of book was that it's a little bit too much for niche of people, right? The niche was really small.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a very niche market.
I made two books about Belgian politics in the 80s and 90s, and they sold much better. Even they, you could only buy them in Belgium, right? But they sold much better.
uh, oh, and Darrell's pointing out that your other book is available on Amazon for 150. So
Wow,
if
that's
you've got any old copies, if you've got any old copies in your closet, Jan,
yeah.
there's a market.
I have a few in Chinese. Really,
I think that makes the price go up.
really, I have some in Chinese and in Korean. They were in Korean and Chinese, but not in English. Crazy, man.
Speaking of illustrating books and stuff, Greg is curious if you are doing illustration commissions, and if so, for what types of clients?
No, I don't have illustration. Well, sometimes, but it's only sometimes. And
Is that something you
I have a hard
actually
time
see?
to deal with because customers always ask for corrections and I don't like to correct. I don't want to do things a few times again and again. But I'm lying. Actually, I just did a commission thanks to Bernd for somebody in Austria. But they were happy, or they said they were happy, so that was a good one.
Dan McConnell is asking, he's curious about your decision to enlarge the upper lip and not the lower lip as much. But I think you're.
Well, I think you're
I
right.
have a bit of a delay, but it looks.
Oh, you're right.
Looks like you sketched
Well,
right through that question.
yeah, maybe I should diminish the upper lip a little bit. Thank you, then. You see, sometimes I listen to people. That's right, because it has an influence on the filter here, right? Yeah. I think that's better. I think that's better. Thank you. Nobody's perfect. And now what I always do too, not especially with this box, but I usually put something under my watercolor block or my watercolor paper in order to oblige the water to run down, right? Use of watercolor is a little bit difficult because you don't always know where the water is going to unless you make it go in a specific direction. And when I make it go down, it's easy to, well, it's to predict what I have to do, right? This is a kind of a difficult face. So I'm going to use some green blue here, trying to leave some white open here. You think Steve Brodner is going to draw? Hello. Oh, maybe nobody hears me anymore. Christopher, did you lose me? I think you lost me. Can you guys still hear me? Chris, do you hear me? I don't hear any feedback. But I can hear you now.
Okay, we'll just keep this going. Thanks everybody for putting up with that.
You think people have been hearing me?
We can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. I didn't say anything important actually.
No, just the Zoom call. For some reason the Zoom ended.
You stopped paying?
No, oh no, I certainly didn't stop paying. Larda Souza is curious. In lieu of blacks, what are you choosing for your darkest darks?
Brown and black, brown and blue, right? The darkest brown and the darkest blue. Still better than black. You know, because black is kind of well, not a color for me. White is, but black is not. So it's kind of a dead thing, right?
That certainly works.
Well, they told me to do that in college, so. And in the academy, I went to the academy also for doing figure drawing, figure painting with oils and stuff, and we never used blacks anyhow. And maybe it's because of the school. Well, no. What I really want to say is there was a guy, a painter in Belgium. His name was Rick Wouters, and he was an expressionist. And he didn't use blacks in his oil painting either. And I think that had an influence on all the guys who have been teaching there. And I think, well, for me it worked.
Lars says he also enjoys using umber and ultramarine.
That's almost what I do, right? Yeah, absolutely.
And Mari, who you drew earlier, was saying that absence of black seems to be what brings your watercolor to life. That part of it.
Yeah, and leaving the whites open for your paper, on your paper. Sometimes I actually leave quite a lot of white, sometimes too much maybe. There's a little bit problem because I have to spend a lot of paint on this hair, right? Actually, when you see what Japanese live artists are doing with people with black hair, and you know all Japanese people have black hair, in the live drawing sessions they never give them black hair. Sometimes light brown or dark brown, but black, I haven't seen it so much.
question for Kage.
Yeah.
If that's something that's discussed in training or it's instinctual.
Well, I don't know because my wife wasn't trained there and she's doing the same thing. Maybe it's more manga thing. I don't know.
Wow, it's just watching this come together right now. Again, we're on a bit of a delay, and so when I'm watching the live feed, I'm still watching you frame the face.
Yeah,
it has. And it
growing little by little, right?
Yeah, it really is fascinating. Franz is asking if you'll do a demo with cross hatching, but I'll let him. Just letting him know that
if you have another, if you have another day, yes.
Yeah. So we started with 2 pencil drawings. Feel free to go back and when this stream is over, it will be kept available on the ISCA public page, and you can start over from the beginning.
ISCA public page, it means everybody can see it?
Yes, everybody. This isn't just for ISCA members. Drawn Together is something that we are doing for the entire world.
Oh, I told my brother it was for ISCA members.
Nope, this is something we wanted to do for everybody, as we go through. I mean, just the whole world's going through it.
Okay.
And we've got the resources and the connections to help bring talented artists like yourself to everyone's living room.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're sharing this with the whole world.
He will be angry.
Well, no, because now he can.
Yeah, you can see it
he
afterwards.
can go back and watch the rerun.
Yeah. Anyway, he cannot ask difficult questions for me or disturbing questions.
See. Nina is asking if you practiced for this demo.
I've been watching the faces and which one I would like to draw. Yeah.
But no, you haven't.
No,
you didn't
no,
do
no.
a drawing of Millie
No.
broadcasting to warm up. No. This is
It's
the master in action.
a good question actually. Actually, I fell asleep this afternoon.
Johanna says.
Hi, Johanna. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I need to give you more room to say hi to people. But she's asking you use yellow, blue, and red from top to bottom in the face.
From top to bottom.
Is there a specific reason why you made that choice?
I don't think about color actually. I just apply, and of course in the cheek there is more red than in the nose. There is more red than in the ear. There is more red, but in a shade, I would always use colors that don't pop up. But but there are different colors in this face. You don't see it probably, but on the forehead there is a lot of yellow, and then the cheeks they show reddish color, and it's totally different. You can never apply one color. Never. Even on your body, there are different colors, right? Your legs have another skin color than your tummy. Your knees are usually more red, for example.
Johanna and Tassir say hi.
Hi. How are the vegetables doing, Johanna? And the flowers? She's growing a lot of things in her big garden. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to garden now.
Yeah, but she's doing that since a couple of years already. She has a greenhouse and things like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. She used to have commissions and now she has a greenhouse. Sorry. I'm a bad guy. Except Your Honor now. Anyway, drawing a woman is always more like a struggle than drawing a man.
I found that too. Do you find yourself being more delicate?
Absolutely. And I drew more than I would draw for a male face. Right? I wanted to be sure that everything was a little bit correct. And then somebody told me, the upper lip is too big. And it was right. But this is kind of a lot of work, actually. So who contacted Steve Brodner?
They are currently working out details right now. Tom Faraci and
Great.
Steve are trying to hammer down a specific time.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
He was at one convention and I missed that one too.
If only. We'd love to get you back.
Yeah, and you should ask him back.
Sure. We'll ask everybody back.
Yeah. That's right.
So how many ISCA conferences have you been to?
Let me count. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. 9, I think.
Wow, okay. So you've had your fair share.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part about going to the convention?
Swimming.
Swimming.
I especially like the conventions in Florida because it's always nice weather when it's autumn here in Belgium. And it's nice.
Okay.
No, that was a joke. But I prefer conventions with nice weather and a swimming pool.
I think that's the general consensus.
And they used to be in February, and I was in Vegas in 2005, and I remember in the morning the flowers had been frozen outside. That was funny.
Oh, yeah, Vegas is touchy like that.
Yeah, it was not really warm. And 2003, yeah, that was a good one, except for the last day, because the last day was the day that, what was it? The shuttle exploded, right?
Oh.
We were there, it was Florida, it was 2003. I had a ticket to go to the landing.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah, the day before, or 2 days before, I visited Cape Canaveral with Dion Socha. And,
Oh, yeah.
but the ticket was also for coming home, right, for the landing. Okay, well, that didn't happen. That was really sad moment. Everybody was kind of, sad.
What was your favorite convention location that you went to?
Maybe San Antonio.
Really?
Because, well, the city is really nice. The old city is really nice. I don't care about buildings, really big buildings, or, I mean, the modern thing. But San Antonio has a really nice center, and it's following the river, and many restaurants in it, but really nice atmosphere. So I think that was the nicest, except for the swimming pool. I mean, Florida has the best swimming pools.
So you really like it when the conventions are in a, you really pay attention to the city that it's happening in.
Well, not really. I always came when I could come, right? But at a certain point, the head of my school didn't let me go anymore.
I would venture to say, I would put a guess in that 70% of people who attend the ISCA conference every year don't leave the hotel for more than 10 hours. And the rest is spent in the ballroom drawing or going to see the guest speakers and seminars.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. But I always brought my family and the kids, so it was nice to throw them in the swimming pool, right? And hope they would drown. And no, I mean that But swimming was kind of a nice extra bonus, you know.
Yes. And as we look to Vegas, the hotel, the Golden Nugget Tom wanted me to bring up, their swimming pool has a water slide that goes through a shark tank.
Shark Tank? What is that? There are sharks
Like
in
an
it?
actual tank filled with sharks.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can
Absolutely.
throw your children in and they and like shark
I mean, you
food.
can. And Manny popped in. Manny says,
Hi, Manny.
"Beautiful work, Jan."
Thank you. It's a little bit dirty, but that's how I am.
And Dan McConnell is asking, "Are you mixing green with the red for your lip shadows?"
I don't even remember. I just decide, okay, I have to make it a little bit darker, so I take one nice color of my dirty palette and it's getting darker. Well, it's not that easy, but I don't really think about it a lot of time. Then I don't remember what color I've used in this
Are you
question.
dipping it all into your red wine?
That helps too, but I don't think it's color proof. Red wine. Neither is coffee.
Nina is asking, will this be sprayed with any sort of fixative?
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to spray fixative on watercolor. Right? No. That's really bad for the climate. You know.
I've never finished a watercolor well enough to where anyone would want to preserve it. So.
No, I don't really know what would be the good thing about spraying color on spraying a fixative on watercolor. Really, it's not fading, or I mean.
Millie says she used to paint with red wine and soy sauce.
That's nice, but I think the colors fade after a while. Whew, this is really work.
Tim would like to say thank you again for this wonderful masterclass.
Thank you so much. You know, when you work with watercolor, it's nice to use some extra red. You know why? Because the colors always get more flat when the color is drying. So you shouldn't be afraid to use some nice colors. It's okay that it pops out a little bit.
So don't be afraid.
Yeah, not to use color because it's the colors will go away a little bit anyway while they dry.
So do you have any tips for balancing that? You also said with watercolor, it's best to quit while you're ahead.
To what?
To quit while you're ahead. He said it was better to stop early rather than.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you find that balance?
Well, I can't because I already crossed the line. That's one of the most difficult things about watercolor. I especially experienced that with the Zoom thing. I did a lot of watercolor stuff, and the ones I liked most afterwards were the ones that I kept fresh, you know. I did one of Eric Goodwin, and I totally screwed it up with the colors. It was so dirty. The one of Don Pinsent, that was a good one. Some drawings stay good, some drawings will be bad after a while. But probably everybody has the same feeling, right? I'm kind of picky as concerned about my own drawings afterwards.
Everyone's their own worst critic, right?
Yeah.
So now, do you tend to keep your own artwork? What will you do with these four that you've done today?
I have no idea.
Now, when you hop in on the Zoom barbecues and say Kiko Zoom party.
Well, I have a stack of drawings of 115 drawings.
150.
Here they are. Here they are.
This is Jan's stack of drawings.
From the Zoom things.
Yeah.
And here's Millie's son. Hmm?
I can't see it yet. I'm
Okay.
on about a
No
15
problem.
second delay.
Anyway, I arrived at a point that I should stop this drawing and let it dry a little bit and then reconsider. Sometimes you have to reconsider and make some adjustments afterwards, right? Here it should be a little bit darker, deeper, but I stay away from it now because everything a little bit getting too wet. So. No more questions.
Well, Mari mentioned that earlier you said that sometimes you leave too much white. And honestly, those are some of her favorites from you.
Yeah,
So ethereal and
it's
airy.
kind of a
She loves it.
difficult balance, you know. And I used to apply the same technique, the same watercolor technique with my chalkback markers. And actually, that was really, really nice. You could apply them like watercolor. It didn't look like watercolor, although some people thought it was watercolor, but they blend so nicely. You could almost fill a whole page like 911 inch with one marker without a trace on it, right? That there is no other marker you can do that with. Actually, all the alcohol markers are rubbish for me.
Oh, you don't like them?
I don't like them. They're all too dry. It's like no, when you're used to chartback markers, it really sucks, you know. Yeah, but they are a little bit poisonous, so I stopped. I use them for live work, and then my customers said in the restaurant, my customers are complaining that their food doesn't taste like it should taste. Really, that happened.
Fortunately, this broadcast is not sponsored by Chartback.
Well, you know, I got them for free from Chartback. Those were the early days of websites, and I was kind of quick, and I had a little square thing on my website which mentioned Chartbacks, and they sent me a whole bunch of Chartbacks. Yeah, and when I got to the convention, I think it was 2003, I'm not sure, I got a whole bunch of Chartbacks for everybody, and it was smelling like hell, you know. Everybody was using the Chartbacks. That was a poisonous convention.
Laurel's asking again, she says, how are you and your family doing during the COVID-19 health and economic crisis? Are you still doing school things through videos?
No, but you know, I've been a teacher, and I'm still a teacher, and I still get paid. He get paid. No, but actually I'm on sickness leave because I broke my kneecap, but I still get paid. It's a little bit less, but I still have an income. So, but I want to draw more when this thing is over. I officially retired September the 1st, and then I probably will make a new company from being able to draw more, because when you're a young retired teacher, you're very limited in the amount of money you can earn extra on top of your retirement money. So that's why I'm going to make a company. I have a kind of a company now, but it's a one-person company. But then I'm going to make a real small company. And if I have a lot of work and income, I can put the money in that company and I can take it out when I'm 65, because then I can earn as much as I want, which is really strange situation.
That is funny how that works.
But anyway, I have a kind of a basic income. I'm not dying.
Well, we're glad you're doing okay.
And my family is in Japan, because the plan was that they would go to school in Japan for 3 months, but the schools are closed. So everything was kind of a thing for nothing.
And you mentioned you're not able to travel there right now, right?
Well, I have a ticket for June 30 and I have no idea if I can fly or not. I don't even know if they can come back at the end of July. So uncertainties.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, for everybody, right?
How much more work do you think once this gets dried up? Should we start getting final questions from people?
Yeah, okay. I can do another pencil sketch if you want.
Sure. Hey, whatever you would like. I'm here. I'm here for the whole ride for you.
Yeah, really? Okay.
The man is unstoppable, folks.
Yeah, it's not so terrible.
All right, we're gonna do one more pencil sketch then.
Okay. There are some people that I already have been drawing. Actually, I like this kind of face. It's a person similarly my age with a lot of gray hair, and he's looking a little bit sad, downwards.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's Dan. Is that Dan McConnell? He was here earlier asking questions.
Ah, really? Okay.
Let me see here.
He sent a funny photo too, but I like the sad one, actually.
Yeah. Let me double check. I might have that name wrong. Looking at our thread here.
So I am ripping this off because
That is Dan McConnell.
okay. I like the back side of this paper better than the front side, because the front side is a little bit too, there is too much texture on it. So okay, can you find the photo?
Yep.
Okay.
That is Dan McConnell.
So what I like about this photo actually is that this face is kind of a banana shape, and I like banana shaped faces. So what I mean about it is this is going to be the face, right? And this is going to be kind of the hair, right? See the banana? It's here. Okay. So actually from this point on, it's kind of only filling in. The most important moment is the decision you make about what are you going to do with the basic thing about how everything will behave, and this could be the outline almost. So I didn't start with the eyes this time. This should be the nose. The nose is going in the direction of the banana, right? It's turning with the shape of the face, which is good, because otherwise you would have a hard time breathing.
Oh, good. Dan is still here.
He's still here. Hi, Ben.
Yeah.
Probably never gonna talk to me anymore. But no, but sketching is so fun. Everybody should be sketching more. I mean, finished drawings are nice to show, but you know, to keep yourself in a good drawing shape, I would say please keep sketching.
Yeah, when it comes to collecting artist work, I prefer collecting sketches and sketchbooks.
Ah, yeah. There are nice. There are really beautiful sketchbooks around these days. You know,
Yes.
almost too many. You see them on internet, and it's making me almost kind of depressed. You know how good people are. No,
Dan says he grows pears, not bananas.
sorry, Dan.
Maybe you should look into bananas for the future.
I wish I had your hair, Dan. He has a lot of hair. I like to draw the structure of the hair if it doesn't take too much time. If you would have to draw this person with a finished pencil drawing, it's a disaster, you know? It would take me 30-40 hours because all this white, the white in the hair should be kept open when you draw with a pencil. It's a hell of a job. Right? I once did Einstein, and that's the drawing that took me most of the time, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Because I gave him a dark background. So
Right.
that was really, really stupid.
No, will you, oh my goodness,
Have a drink, Chris.
yeah, no, I should start. I was gonna wait till afterwards, but hey.
No, you can start a little bit.
I was trying to recall the name of Thomas Fluharty.
Fluharty, yeah.
Yeah, he will, with his indigo drawings, when he goes against a dark background like that, he will go in with a,
He's pinching the white.
knife.
He's pinching the white out, right?
Yeah.
With a kind of a knife.
He'll use an X-Acto knife to actually
Yeah.
peel that off. I'm curious if you've ever tried any technique similar to that.
Yeah, I know that. Well, it's the technique of scraper board, right? But you can only do it with the right paper. He uses a specific type of paper. He wrote it some time ago, but I didn't remember what he did. I don't remember what kind of paper he's still using. But I'm not into pinching the white open, actually. I prefer leaving it open, but it's a hell of a work. I think I only worked longer on one drawing than the Einstein. I think it was RFK, Robert Kennedy, and I did it on the iPad, and that was a long job. But I didn't do it in one time, so it's hard to say how much time I exactly spent on it. And there were some other ones too, yeah, but I don't remember them so well. But Einstein was probably the first one I spent so much time on.
Just watching you sketch.
That's nice. Yeah, I like to see people drawing as well. And I think this was I've been a teacher for a very long time, but I think this was the best part of it. I mean, drawing together with the students and hoping that they would like the sketching, the way of sketching. When I was in college, that was my favorite part, seeing how the teachers were drawing, right? But recently, many teachers don't draw anymore. They are afraid to draw. And that's so sad. That is really sad. I don't know how that is in American universities or something, but it really changed in Belgium. It's like, okay, do this, do that, and if you show your work, it's like, okay, look a little bit further, right? Do some more research. But they don't say, okay, I'll show you how you can do that. And that's an enormous waste of time. son of Carol. The son of Carol was in university of painting, and he had to find out how to work with oils himself. What a crappy attitude. That's so terrible. But apparently that's the new way of teaching. So it's time to stop for me. So I like this asymmetry. You know, the head goes like this, and then the shoulder. Oh, it's not really the shoulder; it's the sweater. It's going like that. So that's a nice contrast, I think. I like some contrast and asymmetries in drawings. It gives some dynamic.
I like this choice of photo you've taken.
Yeah,
like you said,
I don't think everybody would choose this one.
No, but I'm very glad you did. The positioning, the contrast. I mean, and just the mood and tone of it.
Yeah, it's just a quick sketch, but it's. I love the well, he's not sad. He's posing, right? But it looks a little bit like sad, which is nice. It's not all about joy, right?
Right.
Maybe he's a little bit too skinny, but well. If this would be an assignment, I would redo it.
I wouldn't. Even with the banana face, I think the hair, it kind of gives them this upside down pear thing. So I think everybody's happy.
Yeah, it's still a pear, right? Good one. You save me. You save my ass.
Anytime.
Thank you. Which brings me to the point of asking if everybody who sent a picture knows what is a good photo for an artist to draw with, right? Or to draw from. I don't think kind of forced expressions are the best photos to draw with. I like.
They're rarely the best photos of people, anyways.
I like I like to see the people as they are.
And that's why live will always be the best way to draw, right?
Yeah.
When someone sends a photo, they're also sending their favorite photo of them. But
that's right. But I'm still a little bit shocked that caricature artists do make the same mistakes as normal people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I hope I'm not making anybody angry, but it's so strange.
I would say once someone gets into taking a lot of commissions, that's when they start learning on
maybe.
their own the good and bad photos to work from.
Yeah.
Because until you really have one or two experiences firsthand, when you go, yeah, I know you can see this person because your brain can fill in all the missing info because it's your dad.
Yeah.
I
Also.
don't have that information.
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of people, even when you're starting out, you're just practicing at home. When I was 14 and just starting, I used to pull up family albums.
Yeah.
And just draw from there. And those were, all from the 80s.
Yeah.
So they're not great pictures to begin with.
Yeah.
But my brain is filling in all that missing info.
Shoo. There is one person I'm definitely not gonna draw, and that's Debbie. I know I know Court cannot draw her himself, so I'm not gonna risk my life here.
The Court's one who put her forward.
Yeah,
nominated
he
her.
sent the photo that she's really too difficult for me. Wow.
Ken is curious, how much of your work do you post online? Do you put up? Do you also post drawings that you consider failures?
I think I posted almost everything. Well, you can see what I posted of the Zoom thing. I posted really everything. So yeah, well, one drawing is better than the other one, but that's the thing, right? I mean, if you make a finished drawing, a really detailed finished drawing, and after 30 hours of work you see that it's crap, I think you better not post it. But sketching, okay, but it's a creative process and it's not so easy, right?
Do you think it's hard to be objective about your own art, about whether or not something is good?
Oh well, I think it's, I don't know it's if objective is the right word, but actually what it's about is if you can qualify it as good or not, right?
Right. We've got breaking news from ISCA President Tom Faraci, and he just spoke with Steve Brodner. He will be going live next week. Unfortunately, he's busy this week,
That's
so
okay.
we will have him.
That's fantastic.
But he is. So stay tuned. We'll have more details as they come.
I would say a big applause for Tom.
Always big a Tom. A big applause for Tom.
Okay, this will be my last one. Okay, I have
Okay.
a guy in front of me.
This is Chad Engel. I know Chad. He's
you
from
know.
Indiana.
Okay,
He's been drawing for more than a few years, and he's a swell guy who has been to I think every ISCA convention I've been at.
really?
He might have been a rookie the first year I was a rookie in 2016.
You know who I'm drawing?
Yes,
Okay,
that's Chad Engel.
okay.
I'm not sure if oh yeah, you can see it in the pictures. He's got a very specific way he does his goatee. He shaves it with the spikes on the chin.
What is it? Spikes? Yeah. Now I see it. Like a tiger claw or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. Thank you for telling me.
Oh, anything for you, Jan.
Woohoo! Well, he has kind of a specific thing in his nose, you know, it's not a long nose, and in the profile photo I would put it up, but in the 3/4 view, which I'm drawing, is not really up, but I'm trying to put it up a little bit based on the profile photo.
I like his brow line. I think he's got a fun brow line. The eyebrows and the brow line.
And this one is going a little bit
but the way they interact
higher, yeah.
with each other is fun.
Don't make it too difficult, right? Eyebrows interacting.
Here's another note from Tom. Tell Jan that Steve is also a big fan of yours.
Well, that's hard to believe, but I thank you so much. Well, next time, then if I ever get to New York, I would like to visit him, but I don't know if it's still possible in this lifetime.
Well, we'll get there.
I think he's from New York, isn't he?
Not entirely sure, but that sounds right. I am still fascinated at your approach with just starting and going.
Yeah, it's kind of a non-approach, actually.
It's like watching someone build a bridge while they're standing on it.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's how I feel, actually. Yeah.
And yeah, Dan says Mr. Brodner is definitely in New York City.
I see. Okay.
And Lars says Steve Brodner should come to you, Jan.
Whoa. No. He's so good, and so good with students and everything. I admire him a lot. That's okay. It's okay to admire somebody, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Many of the people I admire are dead, and he's still alive. So what else should I do? You have to stick to somebody. And he's very, how should I say, honest in his comments and his thing that he's publishing on Facebook and stuff. He's just doing his thing, you know, and he doesn't really care what other people say about it or think about his point of view. He's very straightforward, and that's fantastic. But what a great artist, what a great, and even, you know, in little sketches, you can immediately see it's his work. He has a certain,
that's what I love about sketchbooks from all artists.
yeah, he has a certain way of putting his lines. It's incredible. But he has kind of a hard face to draw too. I have some cats visiting in the back of the garden.
Uh-oh.
Well, I prefer them having outside than inside.
Do you typically warm up when you sit down?
It's warm.
Do you do a couple throwaway sketches?
It's warm enough here. You mean in general for life drawing?
Yeah, just
No.
when you sit down in your home studio, like even if you're doing, you know, you're going to be doing the Zoom meeting, like before you get started on your first drawing,
no.
you loosen up. Do you have any exercises?
No. I keep reading, that's all.
you just jump right in.
Yeah. Trying to get the connection right, the technical things. No, but you know, the Zoom thing is actually really good for practicing.
Absolutely. It's without actually sitting down in front of customers, it's about the closest we can get to, right?
Yeah, and it's a good thing in these lonely days to see somebody else. It's true, right? I'm sitting here for a whole month by myself, right? So
yeah.
you can imagine that I like to participate. The day before yesterday, it was the big thing organized by Bo, and there was a Dutch artist, and he was sitting there for 8 hours.
Oh yeah, I know. I was there.
Yeah, you were there, right? But he had a great time.
Yeah, and we try to keep all those posted on the ISCA public page as well, so people know when something like that's happening.
Yeah. I think tonight, but too late for me, I think Salah is doing one, right?
I believe so.
But I think it's for me
We'll
at
make sure to pass that
4 or
info
5
on.
o'clock. That's too much.
Oh yeah. What time is it there for you now?
No, it's 10 minutes past 11 p.m.
Oh, okay. It's still early for a night owl, I
That's
feel.
correct. These are the best hours.
Do you find you're more productive during certain times of the day, even without the quarantine or lockdown?
Yeah, the evening. It has been like that all my life. especially when you have children, it's that way. I mean, little children, right? The night is so good. The night is so cool.
Luis is asking, what's your approach on the body size while doing portrait caricature?
Do I understand that? I mean, is it about drawing small bodies, or is that?
I think he's just asking, yeah, how to phrase that. I think he's basically asking, what's your approach when you're doing these head and shoulders? How much thought are you putting into, say, the shoulders?
Well, I try to to draw the shoulders. I mean, what I think is important about the shoulders is when kind of if you have a person like this, he looks different when you draw him like this than when you draw him like this, right? So it is important.
Right.
But it's a matter of observation, right? Also, if this is the face, where is the neck? Is this the neck? Or is the neck here? Which is also possible. It's and you can have many chins, and you know,
So
the neck
those
is also,
portions of the body are also
yeah,
very much
they are
included
important
as part
because
of the
they
caricature.
emphasize the character and the weight of the person and how he behaves. And I mean, it's a good question, but it's just watching what's on the photo, right? You can really make somebody sad, or in a direction, or and you can do this, and you can add some attention lines, or you can make somebody happy just by using the right position of the shoulders, right? So it is important, absolutely, yeah. But like in this case, I just stick to the photo, actually. I think it's really important when you do live drawings, because then you see more of the person that you're drawing. Now I see only, well, in this case I have more photos, but usually when you're working from photo, you work from one main photo, right? But if you have a live drawing session, you see so much more, how these people behave, how they talk, how they look angry at their husband or whatever, the character, right? You see so much more in a live session, and that's why I think live drawing is easier.
Yes.
Easier.
I think most would agree with you on that.
That's good. Which still raises the question, why is Manny able to do such crazy things?
Well, I think ISCA members, we've got an archival video of Manny's advanced caricature lesson on the YouTube. So yeah, if you're interested in learning some of Manny's secrets, we've got those.
Okay, I have to watch this.
Yeah, I think that was from the Orlando convention in 2016.
Oh, really?
And that can be found, yeah, by signing into the members section at caricature.org.
For me, it's,
You know?
I have to admit, sorry to say that, but it's a little bit confusing. What is on which page? There is a members page, there is a normal page, and I don't really know what to find where. Always. Is it
Well,
me?
we're always working to make it better, so
Okay.
any feedback you or anyone watching has is always taken into consideration.
Well, could be just me. I'm stupid.
You're I'm pretty sure you're far from it, but we appreciate how humble you are.
But I have a smart brother, but it's not me. Okay, this is about it, I think.
Okay, well, it sounds like Jan's wrapping up. Do we have any last-minute questions before we sign off? We'll give a couple seconds or anything to
Or encouragements,
delay.
or
What's that?
or encouragements, or whatever.
Yes, any questions or you know you can just. Apparently, Jan needs to hear how great he is.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. No.
Johanna says she's going to try your building technique soon.
You mean Lego? Cheers, Johan. So yeah, you didn't think that I have been pre-sketching, right? But I did a pre-sketching in my head, and I think that's what most people do at a live drawing session too. They try to see the positioning on the page and where to start and where the face is going. If you work with a marker, you don't pre-sketch, right? I don't have time to do pre-sketching.
Some people do.
Yeah, and especially for retail. Maybe for retail I would do that too, because you take a little bit more time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of projecting your drawing on the paper before it's even there. That's what we all try to do, right?
Absolutely.
But when you don't see it, it's kind of a struggle, right? And then you just have to go and say, when it's finished, ta-da! And people still like it, even if it's bad.
I've had a few people not like it.
Well, I think it's a difference. There is a difference in America versus Europe or versus Japan. I've been doing some retail in Japan too, and that's really nice. I mean, people are so kind, never reject.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I've been drawn in Japan a few times.
Uh-huh.
There's so many talented artists over there.
But I guess you were very friendly too to the artist.
Of course. Always interested in how everyone's doing their craft.
That's right. But I really believe that everybody who is drawing live for 10 hours per day is going to be a good artist.
Yeah.
What you do with the creative thing, and I mentioned many again, that's not for everybody, but I think when you draw 10 hours a day, everybody can be an artist.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to your quote.
Oh yeah, there you
Quote
go.
of the day. Talent is the want to draw 10 hours a day?
Yeah, or the desire or something to draw, to practice. The desire to practice, that's the best, I think.
Look at what a wonderful bookend to a fantastic session with master caricaturist and wonderfully human being, Jan Op De Beeck.
Yay!
Again, I want to thank you, Jan, on behalf of the International Society of Caricature Artists.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And thank you
for taking
everybody
the
for
time.
joining. It was really nice.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you.
I had a good
We're going
time.
to keep this video, so if you came in late, give it a little bit. It'll pop back up on Facebook. You can start all over from the beginning. You're all wonderful people. We are a community, a world drawn together. And tune in to the ISCA Facebook page for more all week. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
You have right now so many people saying thank you.
Yeah, I can read it on my phone. Well, even my brother succeeded to be there. How am I going to explain that?
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Okay.
now you can just hit that should be that blue button again, and your stream will be over.
Okay, it's a red button and it says live, so if I push it, maybe